Welcome back to another episode of the Meal Prep Monday podcast. I'm your host and founder of Prep Dish, Allison Schaaf. In today's episode, I am talking about why we eat dinner together every night. And I'm also going to do some updates on Prep Dish, my life. It's been a little while since I've been here on the mic. So let's dive right in. So I, in the fall, said I was going to take a break for a few months from the podcast. I am currently back. I am going to do a few episodes here in January, but I do not think in 2026 I'm going to get back to regular weekly episodes. One thing I do want to point out is we have so many past episodes on the podcast, a lot of great content. This is airing in January of 2026. Go back if you're wanting to look for inspiration on meal planning, meal prep, time batching, habits. There's so much content that I went through over the years. And so I would encourage you, especially this time of year, if you're looking in how to set up new rhythms or systems in your house, look at some of the content that's already here and existing from earlier episodes. I do have a few episodes planned here in January and then still deciding for the rest of 2026 what I'm going to do for episodes on this podcast. So stay tuned. But for today, I wanted to come back to a topic that I know we've discussed on this podcast before, but I feel like it's worth repeating and, also just providing, some personal updates as well. But, I'm titling the episode, Why We Eat Dinner Together Every Night. This has been something that, my background is a chef and dietitian. So food and meals and family meals, they've always been important to me. But as my family has grown, it's just become more and more true with each year, with each kid. We now are a family of 6 with 4 kids. The youngest is 9 months. She's now eating at the table with us. We're doing, baby-led weaning with her like we have with the others. And it's actually been so fun to see, she really is in a happier mood at dinner time now. I think she was just waiting to sit in that high chair and join us. But yeah, we still make it happen. This means having dinner at 5 p.m. on the dot every single night so that we can make it happen, but we do it. And I'm grateful for it. I feel like one, it allows me to be intentional with what we're serving and eating. So, healthier food, which I will say definitely then lends itself to better days with the kids. I find if we're eating out a lot, if we're out of our rhythm or traveling or, just things going on, I find that moods and behaviors can suffer because of that. So, just having regular healthy meals at a scheduled time is so important, not just for the kids, also for the adults. I think it just really is one of those core health principles that really makes a difference. And the other piece is that connection and conversation that happens, just knowing that no matter what the day or the week brings, that we're always going to come back at this set time. And even if we were going to maybe do this activity, or it's I felt like I got caught up with something, I do know that, hey, at 5 p.m., we're all going to sit down, we're all going to connect and have that time together. So yeah, it's just something that has continued to be top priority in my family. And I partly felt inspired to do this episode today to just give some encouragement if you're out there listening and this is something that you're wanting to work towards or change up in your household. I also, I've talked about this in past episodes of figuring out your season of life. So I find this time of year a good chance to sit back, reflect on what's working, and with intention, change things that aren't working. And maybe one of those is mealtime. Maybe it's, the time needs to be adjusted. Maybe there's some events going on or, sporting activities that happen on a weekly basis. And how do you navigate that? I don't have all of the answers, but I will say if you can pause and think through a plan that works for you and that you're happy with, then, that's the step in the right direction, right? So I would encourage you to use this time to think through, how have dinner times been going for you over the past several months? And is there anything coming into a new year that you want to implement or change or anything like that? of course, this is the Prep Dish podcast. So I have to mention how the meal plans really do allow me to not think about meals all the time, but also have them happen every day. I can spend it really realistically sometimes ends up being like, twice a week that I have to like really think about it. I put in the grocery list. I then have a list of all the dinners. Everything's ready. I sometimes will do the meal prep in advance. Honestly, most of the time I'm doing it right before dinner these days. That just seems to work better for me. It gives me sort of this decompression time between work and then sitting down with the family. And a lot of times the older boys especially will join me in the kitchen. So I like that as part of the rhythm, but having that structure in place and having a plan that's done for me makes it a lot easier to make it happen, to make sure that we are eating together every night and having dinner and enjoying it and, tasty, delicious food that's nourishing to our bodies. So that's what I have for today's episode. I'm glad to be back, even if it is just for, these next few weeks. If you want to connect with me, I'm at Prep Dish on Instagram. If you're in our Facebook group, feel free to reach out there. And, I'm excited to be back, and we'll be back again next Monday with another episode. But before I sign off, I almost forgot. If you are wanting to try Prep Dish, we still do have the 2-week free trial at prepdish.com/MPM. Short for Meal Prep Monday. It's always linked in the show notes. But if you're feeling inspired or wanting to try out Prep Dish and, not sure if it's a fit, just go to the free trial. It's 2 weeks. You can try out a few different meal plans, see what works for you, see if it can help make dinner a little easier in your household. Okay, that is all I have for this week. I will be back again next Monday with another episode.